Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'll be giving my honest review and thoughts on the Tombow dual brush pens. I have had these for about a week or so now and I've been having a wee play around with them. I don't know heaps about them, but I thought I would just share my thoughts and just give you a few wee demos of what they can do. So first up, I got the 96 set. So comes with 95 colours and a clear blending pen, which I'll talk about a wee bit later. And it comes with a stand, which is great for being able to put all your pens on display, and also a colour chart and a blending pad, which goes with the clear blending pen, which I'll talk about shortly. So some great features about these pens are that they don't bleed through regular paper and colouring books. If you're new to my channel, normally I'm doing things to do with colouring books, so normally with coloured pencil, but I thought that I would test out some felt pens. I've had felt pens in the past, but I wanted to try some more artist quality ones to see what I think of them. So let's get started. Okay, so let's have a wee play around with these pens. As I've said, they're dual brush pens, and there's a brush end and a nib end, and you can see by obviously the symbols, and the coloured end is also the brush, and this end's the fine point. So it's really easy to know which side you're grabbing before you open it. You don't have to, some pens are kind of a little bit harder to decide which end's which on the dual brush pens. So we'll give it a wee play around. I'm not great with my lettering, but I didn't buy these for lettering, I bought them for adult colouring. And the reason why I chose these over Copics is because they are water-based, where Copics are alcohol-based, and it means that these pens are a lot less likely to go through the paper to the other side, where Copic, the alcohol will soak right through the paper and you'll have it on both sides of the paper. Let's try the fine tip side. Nice and sharp and good for doing little detail work. One thing I notice is with the brush tip, and it might just be my technique, but it is like a little, I don't know how to describe it, like rough around the edges. And like I said, it could be my technique, and I've noticed on some pens it's worse than others. So that is one thing that I notice straight away. Right, so let's test them out in a colouring book. Previously I have done some drawing on this page with different pens, and as you can see, some of them have bled through a little bit. This wasn't with Tombow, this was a different make of pen. Some of them haven't, but let's just see how the Tombows go. See, they go on nice and smoothly. If you are colouring in a bigger space with a dark colour, let's say we're doing this bit, and you don't do it quick enough, you'll notice your lines in there, or if you have to go over it again, where if you can get the line in one go, like other pens, they'll be nice and smooth. But if you have to, I'll try and do this badly, just to show you if you're not practiced in pens. You will see where the lines are. Alright, let's have a look on the other side quickly. And perfect, there's not even any show through, and that's quite a dark green. Let's try an even darker colour. So I've gone over that patch quite a few times. Let's have a wee look. there's just like the very slightest bit, and it's more the fact that I soaked the paper rather than actually the colour coming through. I've found with the lighter colours they're a lot easier to get smooth than the bolder, vibrant colours. The lighter ones you can just sort of go over a few times and it doesn't layer as bad, if that makes sense. A lot smoother to apply. You can see my pen skills aren't that great. But you can't get better if you don't practice, so. It goes on fairly smoothly. Let's have a look on the other side, and yeah, again, it hasn't bled through. You can just kind of see a little bit of texture in there, just because of how much moisture is in it. Next I'll show you a picture I've done in Mythomorphia, and this was the very first picture or even anything I've done with the Tombows. And I've done the full page. I started with this dragon head and I wanted to blend from the reds to the orange colour, which I found blended quite well, and you can layer and layer, and I'll show on the other side, none whatsoever has gone through. Another thing that I did was blended with, it comes with a clear blending pen, and you can pick up colour off a piece of plastic or the blending pad card that comes with it. It's got a little colour sheet. It tells you all the colours, and then you can draw on them with the back and pick this up. So that's how I got a very smooth purple to bluey gradient in the bird. Let me zoom in. Yeah, and these, I don't know, flying fish or flying birds or there as well. And I also attempted doing that with the clear Tombow pen through this section, and it ended up making a really textured bit in the paper, like it roughed it up. And when you go to the other side, just ever so faintly here, I don't know if the camera picks it up, oh yeah it does, it bled through, which, I mean, when this page is coloured in you won't see it at all, so it wasn't terrible, but that was the only part I noticed, and that was with the blending pen. Just doing a really saturated area. And as you can tell, the background was just gross. It was a disaster using the dark blue. I think, which one was it? Maybe this one. You can see every pen stroke and it just looks amateur, where with these other bits you can sort of see pen strokes, but I've made sure they've gone with the lines of the drawing and it doesn't look like a 2-year-old's done it. Well, I don't think it does. So yeah, that was my first attempt at a colouring page with the Tombows. So it's quite interesting just to see how it does turn out. Yeah, I haven't used felt pens in years, so obviously the more I practice with them, hopefully the more my skills get better. And then I've done another quick one in the Daydreams colouring book, which I decided to use more pastel colours just to see how they went on big open spaces like the leaves, the petals. I'll zoom in a little bit, and as you can see it's gone on really nice and smooth. Unfortunately I picked a page where there's already a picture on the back, so you can't see if it bled through or not, but it hasn't. Well, I don't think it has. Right, so I'll show you some techniques that you can do with the Tombow pens. First one is really simple and you could actually do it with any brush pen, but it's quite effective. What you're going to do is just press down and it makes cute love hearts, which could be cool for a background or card decorating. Another thing you can do is touch one pen onto the other like a chameleon pen, because from what I've read they are self-cleaning, so let's give that a wee go. We'll just have a wee turn of each pen individually first. Lime green, a darker green, let's just try. So I've touched that onto there. And it's starting to come. Perfectly blended and the pen end's already clean. Let's have a look at the other side, which this is just printer paper, which gone straight through there, which I've obviously pressed down hard, but this side colouring properly hasn't gone through. So if you do want to blend colours, say you've got this purple and you're wanting it more blue, you can add some blue in like this. Get your clear blending pen. And mix the two together for your colouring, and then just clean it off afterwards. The only thing obviously is that the clear is also making it lighter. So if you're wanting it to be a more pastel version, that's great, but if you're not, what you need to do is actually go in and get a much darker colour. Let's blend some of this. Another thing you can use these pens for is actually stamping. So obviously colouring in your stamp if you're using an ink that's not affected by water, or you can colour straight onto the stamp. Let's see how this works out. Awesome. So yeah, if you've got only a handful of ink colours, obviously this makes it a lot, your variety a lot more. Now some of them have dots on them, I've just noticed, next to it, and some of them don't. I don't know what that means. I assume it's something to do with light fastness, possibly. Who knows? It doesn't say anywhere. So yeah, I don't know. If you know what the dots mean, let me know. Okay, so that was my review. Some of the things that I really like about these pens are that they are water-based, so they won't bleed through your colouring book paper unless you're going crazy and putting so many layers. I like that they're acid free, so in years to come they're not going to do anything crazy with your paper. I've had a book in the past where I used gel pens that weren't acid free, and they ended up putting like a horrible oily effect through the paper. When I went and looked through it in a few years time, I was like, I was not happy with that, you know. And I like that they're double-ended, so you don't have to have more than one pen, you know, and you can get the detail and the nice thick brush strokes all with one. I like that there's such a big colour range and that you can blend to make your own colours. The only thing that I didn't like about it was that some of the brushes are a little bit rougher, around just the tips aren't perfectly smooth, and I feel like it could only get worse with time. I could be wrong, but yeah. And one more thing that I didn't show today that you can do is actually, if you dip your paintbrush in water or get a water paintbrush, you can put your pen down and then get the brush and go over it and get a really nice watercolour effect. I haven't tried that out yet. Maybe I'll have a wee practice and make a video on that in the future. Yeah, let me know what you guys think, if you use coloured pens and colouring books and what sort you use. And yeah, that's the video for today. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys.